I'm a God and a child of the Most High, yeah. I'm a God and a child of the Most High. Blasphemy? Is that what you're thinking? Is it blasphemous to say that I'm a God?
The facts matter.
Oh yes, he believes he is a god. Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. It is January 5th, 2021. We made it to the new year, thank goodness. This particular poster, this particular person, the commenter that you see before you, Charitable Miracle Beekeepers. Well, he's a bit confused about some things, so we're going to talk about those things. But first, before we do, this is the final comment that was left on my channel. Just to let you know, she has a blood oath with her soul on the line, and anyone who comes against her is literally putting their soul on the line. He's speaking of none other than Anna Von Reitz, of course, as you see here in the right-hand corner. This video that I did of Anna more than 2 years ago has triggered him completely, and he's very confused about several things, including what the bar actually stands for. So we're going to be going over that in this particular video. But this SovCit is really into it deep. You'll notice that he says, "Why, TF, meaning the fuck, do you think when you search her name, you don't find any government-affiliated websites debunking anything she says, or calling her a fraud, or that other word there I'm not going to read, or SovCit, etc. You lost your soul the minute you uploaded part 1. It's on public record. I'm going to pray for you sincerely." Well, skip it there, Charitable Miracle. I don't need your prayers. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple of things pertaining to Anna Von Reitz. First, let's take a look at someone who did listen to her and where they ended up. Maybe listening to her is actually what sends your soul off on fire. The link for this article will be in the description of this video. This is Westward. Westward is just one out of about 15 different publications that actually did an article on a man named Bruce Duche. This particular person was sentenced to 38 years in prison. Why? Because he listened to Anna and a bunch of junk that Anna said was true. This particular man claimed to be a judge, just like Anna, and he sold a bunch of bogus paperwork that was actually written by Anna, very similarly to our favorite person, April Lejeune. And what she's doing right now by selling packages will eventually probably get her as much time as Bruce here got. I have to say that it's embarrassing to have to read comments like this, especially after my channel's been up for going on 5 years now and has debunked this person multiple times. Many people have come to me that have actually used Anna's paperwork that are specifically subscribed to this channel because they had to get assistance by doing things like removing secured party creditor paperwork out of the UCC filings office to avoid the potential of getting in trouble. Anna spreads a lot of information out there for SovCits, and the majority of it can get you in a lot of trouble. But don't let me stop you there, Charitable Miracle Beekeeper. You go right on ahead and follow Anna's advice. Keep drinking that Kool-Aid, because sooner or later, it just means I get to report another article on yet again someone else who has followed Anna and has found themselves behind bars. Another thing this tinfoil hat wearer tends to believe is that the bar, as in from the bar exam or the bar that lawyers become members of, is some sort of secret lawyer conspiracy and actually means British Accredited Registry, or something of that sort. We're going to go over the actual facts with regards to these legal terms, and we're going to talk about the fact that this particular conspiracy has been debunked for many, many years. A sovereign citizen conspiracy theory about the licensing of lawyers is riddled with bad logic and historical inaccuracies. There are multiple articles on this particular situation here, but I'm going to just be reading one of them that's very thorough and has done its absolute research. In the United States, the lawyer's quote-unquote bar, B-A-R, stands for British Accredited Registry and is part of a property-grabbing conspiracy, according to the SovCit group. But this is 100% false. One of the more unusual and complicated theories associated with the sovereign citizen and tax protester movements is the belief that lawyers who are members of the bar associations within the United States are in fact agents of the British Crown and do not have legitimate status in American courts. This theory is partly informed by a false but widely repeated claim that the word BAR, bar, in this context is an acronym for British Accredited Register. Here's how the elaborate but confusing theory is outlined in an anonymously authored essay called, quote, Hiding Behind the Bar, which has been republished and shared in tax protester and SovCit circles for more than a decade now. During the middle 1600s, the Crown of England established a formal registry in London where barristers, lawyers, were ordered by the Crown to be accredited. The establishment of this first international bar association allowed barrister lawyers from all nations to be formally recognized and accredited by the only recognized accreditation society. From this, the acronym BAR was established, donating informally the British Accredited Registry, whose members became a powerful and integral force within the International Bar Association, the IBA. Although this has been denied repeatedly as to its existence, the acronym BAR stood for the British Barrister Lawyers, who were members of the larger IBA. Almost every part of this is factually inaccurate. For one thing, the International Bar Association was founded in 1947, not in the 1600s. Secondly, we could find no evidence of the existence of a professional association for lawyers ever called the British Accredited Registry, either in 2018 or at any other previous time in history. In History of the American Bar, a 1911 book by the Pulitzer Prize-winning legal scholar Charles Warren contains no mention of the British Accredited Registry or British Accredited Register, with accredited and accreditation, being used variously in different versions of this conspiracy theory. It would also make little sense for a group of lawyers in the 17th century England to form a group describing itself as British. Great Britain, composed of England, Wales, and Scotland, did not have and has never had a unified court system, instead being separated into two systems, England and Wales, and then Scotland. In fact, Great Britain itself was not even formally created until 1707, when the Acts of Union joined the Kingdom of Scotland with the Kingdom of England, which included Wales. But more broadly, this theory offers a confused summary of the history of the bar. In the Middle Ages, lawyers in London established 4 Inns of Court: Lincoln's Inn, the Inner Temple and Middle Temple, and Gray's Inn. These were physical buildings, but more figuratively, they were also the professional associations for lawyers working in the more important English courts. A barrister was a legal expert or advocate who has been called to the bar. This is a metonymic phrase which is rooted in the physical barrier that was present in a courtroom to separate fully qualified lawyers entitled to plead cases before a judge from rough-speaking trainee lawyers and members of the public. In modern times, this physical barrier generally separates participants in a trial, such as lawyers, clerks, defendants, the jury, and the judge, from the gallery in which the members of the public and the news media will sit. So someone who has been called to the bar, quote unquote, has been given the right to advocate before a judge and is thereby known as a barrister. A bar association is, roughly speaking, a professional association for lawyers akin to a guild. In some jurisdictions, bar associations are limited to barristers as opposed to solicitors, a different type of lawyer. Whereas in others, they are open to all members of the legal profession. In some jurisdictions, a bar association is the body that licenses and regulates legal professionals, and in others is merely a professional association. The Bar conspiracy theory essay goes on to say things like, when America was still a chartered group of British colonies under patent, established in what was formerly named the British Crown Territory of New England, the first British Accredited Registry, or bar, was established in Boston during 1761 to attempt to allow only accredited barristers, lawyers, access to the British courts of New England. This was the first attempt to control who could represent defendants in the court at or with the bar in America. Today, each corporate state in America has its own bar association, i.e. the Florida Bar, the California Bar, that license government officer attorneys, not lawyers. In reality, the U.S. courts only allow their officer attorneys to freely enter within the bar while prohibiting those learned of the law, lawyers, to do so. They prevent advocates, lawyers, counselors, barristers, and solicitors from entering through the outer bar. Only licensed bar attorneys are permitted to freely enter within the bar, separating the people from the bench because all bar attorneys are officers of the court itself. Does that tell you anything? A 1930 essay, published in the Cornell Law Review, page 393, refers to a bar associations having been established in Boston in 1761. But remember that a bar association is no more than a kind of guild for lawyers. Bar is not an acronym for British Accredited Registry, because that acronym is a complete fabrication. As with many SovCit theories, the essay builds on the shaky foundations of an inaccurate account of the history of bar associations within the United States and draws confused conclusions about the function and legal status of lawyers. Many of its claims are based on the etymology of certain words, rather than their modern meaning. For example, the author of the essay referenced above presents the origins of the word attorney, citing Webster's 1828 dictionary definition as, quote, in the feudal law to turn or transfer homage and service from one lord to another. All right. Many of the passages that are provided through SovCit websites are false. Whatever the older origins of the word attorney might be, the modern definition of the word is much broader. Merriam-Webster defines an attorney as simply one who is legally appointed to transact business on another's behalf. In common American, attorney is used interchangeably with lawyer, for example. This fixation on word origins leads to something like a game of telephone in the logic of the conspiracy theory, with false conclusions being drawn from inaccurate or incomplete premises. Here are more examples of that are summarized from the essay that I was just reading from. Attorneys often give themselves the title Esquire. In feudal England, an esquire or a squire was a kind of property manager for a wealthy landowner. Here's another one. Esquires used to be responsible for attornment, which in feudal England involved transferring land and property between lords. Therefore, lawyers who describe themselves as attorneys or have the title Esquire are sworn oath officers of the state whose sole authority is to transfer your property to their landowner or employer. The historical origins of the word Esquire did have to do with the transfer of property between feudal landowners, but that was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. This argument is roughly analogs to claiming that because the title PhD derives from the Latin doctor of philosophy, microbiologists with a PhD at the end of their name have no legal right to conduct scientific research because they are actually philosophers and not scientists. A bar, British Accredited Registry, licensed attorney, is not an advocate. The theory goes on to falsely claim, so how can he do anything other than what his real purpose is? The conspiracy theories go on and are absolutely crazy. And it's not actually clear as to what the origins of the fabricated acronyms are, but British Accredited Registry was invoked as early as 2001 by Austin Gary Cooper, a longtime SovCit activist. In 2003, a U.S. District Court in Colorado barred Cooper and his wife Martha from selling advice on how to avoid paying federal income tax after the couple sets up groups called Taking Back America and the 10th Foundation, which advised their paying customers that they could renounce their U.S. citizenship and call themselves American citizens instead and escape their tax obligations. You know, kind of like several people do on YouTube right now. In 2006, Cooper was given a 6-month prison sentence for criminal contempt after failing to comply with that specific court order, which obliged him to hand over the names of his customers, among other requirements. During court proceedings, Cooper accused the judge of treason and called him a bastard, and a British Accredited Registry lawyer saying, "You people are going to destroy our country. British Accredited Registry Bar Association, you're going to destroy our country." End quote. In 2017, prosecutors in Tennessee charged Cooper, who is now 69 years old, with 10 counts of forgery and filing fraudulent liens. The case was ongoing as of January of 2018. I haven't checked it since. You guys, the bar is not an acronym for British Accredited Registry. And I don't give a damn what Anna Von Reitz has to say about it. It just simply isn't true. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.